Hi, my name is Michael Smith, and I'm doing my organizational assessment on Delta Tau Delta's Zeta Mu Crescent colony here at Robert Morris. On the national level, Delta Tau Delta has over 130 active colonies and chapters with almost 10,000 undergraduate members. Since 1858, when they were founded in Bethany College in West Virginia, they've initiated almost 150,000 brothers. Our mission overall is to enrich the lives of our men so that they may better serve the communities both on campus and off campus. Nationally, our motto is committed to lives of excellence, so it's something that we try to live by every day. The organizational structure and internal makeup of our fraternity consists of 3 boards, which function as a system of checks and balances. First, there's the executive board, which, like the executive branch of our federal government, regulates the internal functions of our fraternity. This consists of the president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, sergeant at arms, and the directors of recruitment, academic affairs, and risk management. The second branch, the administrative board, which represents the legislative branch of the government, consists of the chairman of the committees of alumni relations, brotherhood, community service, philanthropy, new member education, road, and social events. Finally, there's the honor board, which functions like the judicial branch of our federal government. It consists of the sergeant at arms and an honor board representative from each graduating class, and they will decide by consensus on discipline for any disciplinary infractions in our fraternity. Externally, Robert Morris as a whole is not a very Greek-focused campus. Only 11% of men and women participate in Greek life, and the average person who I have tried to speak to about our fraternity for the first time typically has a negative connotation of anything Greek. So what we try to do is we have our executive board explain what our fraternity is for and how we plan to defy the stereotypes in our community. The administrative board shows it through our actions and the events that we plan. And the honor board strongly disciplines any violations of our code of conduct. Effectively, we're trying to become a counterculture to a counterculture, which is a subculture here at RMU. Finally, in terms of technology, we use Delt Connect, which is a software that is provided to us by the national office. It allows us to collect dues, schedule events, maintain a calendar, record new members, effectively all of our internal functions, as well as communicating with the other branches of Delta Tau Delta throughout the country. In addition to that, we have a Facebook public page and private group, and we also use text and email to communicate with our brothers. Effectively, without technology, we would not be where we are today as a fraternity. For the theory that best explains the social organization of our fraternity, I chose Emile Durkheim's functionalist perspective. While I considered symbolic interactionism because of the Greek letters, functionalism best describes what we do as a fraternity. Every single person matters, every single part of the whole is crucial, almost like an organism, and that's how functionalism is defined. For example, the president and vice president function as the brains of the operation, kind of overseeing everything, making sure that the rest of the fraternity is working well. The secretary functions as the memory because he takes the minutes and does formal documentation. The treasurer functions as the digestive system, taking the money that we bring in and dispersing it to different parts of the body as they need it to survive and thrive. On the administrative board, the brotherhood and social chairman are the arms of our organization, reaching out to other people to try and bring them in or connect with them. The road chairman functions as the muscle of our organization. He teaches us how to take the road into life, to grow into a better individual, and to become stronger with every lesson. Finally, the ritual and education chairman represent the feet of our fraternity. They're what holds us up. They're what keeps us going. Without our rituals and without our new member education, we would cease to exist as a fraternity. Our honor board, I think most importantly, functions as the immune system. If a disease, to be blunt, gets into the organization, then the honor board tries to remedy it or even expels it if need be. Simply put, without each part of our fraternity, we would not be able to function as a whole, and that's why the functionalist perspective is the best to describe our group. There are many ways that our brothers create meaning out of organizational life. First of all, we use cultural objects and stories. The primary example of this would definitely be the Greek letters. Delta Tau Delta are letters that have been worn by men who graduated from Robert Morris College and are now being worn by the men of Robert Morris University. It's a privilege to wear them. You're not allowed to wear them before you've officially pledged, or it's a national problem for us, which will result in disciplinary action. And if you ever take a sip of alcohol in your letters, you could also face disciplinary action. Stories, on the other hand, can be anything from tall tales from this scary fraternity of the 70s to a story that my father likes to tell me. On one hand, we have cautionary tales that we learn from our alumni about their ongoing rivalry with another fraternity here on campus and some of the crazy things that they did, that we try not to model ourselves after. And then my father likes to tell the story of how when he first got here, a man named Brian Rogers introduced himself as his big. And since then, they've been the best man in each other's weddings. And Brian's wife still cuts my hair and my sister's hair when we need a haircut. So the connections really run lifelong. Effectively, the stories function as lessons on how we should and should not act as members of Delta Tau Delta. Next, I'll speak about the explicit, implicit, and symbolic culture within Delta Tau Delta here at RMU. First, in terms of the explicit culture, obviously, we wear our Greek letters to represent our organization. We have recurring events such as weekly Delt dinners on Tuesday and Thursday in the cafeteria where we eat together. And we take our flag to our tailgates, to our chapter meetings, and we hang it proudly in our living room to represent that we are the lounge for Delta Tau Delta brothers to come spend time in if they're free. In terms of our implicit culture, we stand firmly by our ideals of integrity, accountability, opportunity, and growth, and use these to guide our everyday lives. We have the honor board to reinforce that we are following these ideals, and we just act like siblings. If you tell your friend you're going to skip a class, he'll tell you to play Call of Duty with him. If you tell your brother you're going to skip a class, he's going to smack you in the back of the head and drag you to class. It's about that accountability and that responsibility. Finally, in terms of our symbolic culture, our Greek letters embody messages. Delta represents change and growth in mathematics, in ancient Greek culture. It represents the change and growth that we're trying to experience as individuals through joining this organization. It explains why we stand in a triangle at some of our rituals. Additionally, Ta represents resurrection. It represents rebirth. So anything that you had going on in your life before you came a Delt is in the past. It is not something that should influence your future, and it's not something that you will be held responsible for. We care about you from today forward, and that's what Delta Tau Delta stands for in terms of explicit, implicit, and symbolic culture. Next, I'll speak about the collective and subcultural identities within our organization here at Robert Morris. First, in terms of our collective identity, we say the same creed at the beginning of every meeting. We took the same oath when we became Delts, and we stand for the same ideals and principles. We effectively want to be the best without saying we're the best. We may have the highest GPA on campus, and we may have the highest GPA in the Eastern Division of Delta Tau Delta, but you won't hear us bragging about it publicly. Mostly, we just want our men to be humble, and we want them to be comfortable with who they are, because self-respect and humility are the two most important things in any endeavor that you take. In terms of a subculture, we have people who are focused on their academics, we have gamers, we have community service addicts, which is a spectacular thing. We have athletes, we have a little bit of everything. In addition to that, we have alumni who like to talk about the good old days. The good alumni tell us, this is what you shouldn't do, and the bad alumni try to relate to us and, kind of encourage us to go back to the good old days. We work through it, we use it as a cautionary tale, and we take all the positive help our alumni offer us. In terms of new recruits, they tend to fall into some organizational traps. They're afraid to speak to the officers, they're afraid to voice their opinions, they're afraid to speak their mind. And it's something that once I discovered it, myself and the other officers really worked hard in kind of trying to instill in everyone. Effectively, we want people to have their own identities as a subculture within an organization, but all be confident that they are an important and crucial part of the identity of our group as a whole. Additionally, we have both collective and subcultural goals within our organization. Collectively, first and foremost, we want to improve ourselves, our campus, and our community through our actions. In addition to that, we would like to maintain strong relationships with our alumni, because once we're gone, our alumni will be the glue that holds together this organization. Finally, we hope to command respect through our actions and through what we become here at Robert Morris. We want to be the fraternity that you would want your son to join. We want to be the fraternity that you would want your little brother to join. And that's what we're hoping to accomplish here as a whole. In terms of subculture, we have plenty of individual goals. Some men want us to be the intramural champions in handball or hockey. Some men want us to grow in size and get as many members as possible. Some want us to serve the most community service hours or raise the most money for fundraisers. Others want us to be the first fraternity to graduate multiple 4.0 graduates. Finally, there are some whose primary concern is winning every single Call of Duty tournament that we enter as Delt Gaming. The beautiful thing about these subcultural goals is that they seem to be permeating other subcultures. Men who primarily considered themselves athletes are now joining the Call of Duty tournaments, and men who'd never really done community service before really want to try and set a campus record in terms of service hours next semester. And I think personally it's a beautiful thing. Finally, to conclude the meaning in organizational life section, we deal with problem formation through our new member education and our honor board. New member education tries to avoid these problems, and honor board handles them in a prompt and severe manner if they do occur. In terms of communication media, we make sure that we use a diverse range of communication. We use social networking, including Delt Connect, which is like our private Facebook or LinkedIn, effectively. We use flyers, we use posters, we use cell phone communication, we use email. Effectively, we want to get to everyone in the way that they most feel comfortable. In terms of maintaining our value, I make sure that I live my life modeled after the ideals of Delta Tau Delta, and I think it kind of trickles down through the organization. This results in us, all feeling important within the organization as long as, we all live the same values. It makes us hate the stereotypes in the movies, and, it makes us want to recruit good men from the start so that we don't have to worry about disciplining them if they make a mistake. Finally, in terms of goal attainment, we utilize everyone. We make sure that no one is left out. We make sure that everyone gets to speak as well as having a task assigned to them. And we make sure that we instill respect and equality, because no matter what your position is in the group, you always have something to contribute. Next, I'll speak about the cultural context and the value dimensions that apply to the Zeta Mu colony here at Robert Morris. The cultural context is one of unacceptance. Greek organizations are often more self-focused than focused on the Greek community as a whole. And in addition, the recruiting process creates a lot of enemies because many groups might want the same man and only one of them obviously can successfully recruit him. In terms of value dimensions, with universalism and particularism, we share a little bit of both. It's kind of an all men are equal, but every man is crucial sort of perspective. It's the same way with communitarianism and individualism. We are obviously focused on the community, our group as a whole, but we use that to empower and enhance the individual. In terms of specificity and diffuseness, we have very specialized men doing each of the individual jobs of our group, but it's all in the name of the group as a whole, the function of the organization, functionalism. Obviously, our status is one that is achieved. We have worked very hard to get men together. It's actually very rare for an interest group to form a fraternity. Most of the time, consultants come in and interview and recruit men for the fraternity themselves. So we went through a very different process, and we've really gotten here because of our own work. This leads into the next value dimension. We are very inner-directed. We follow our own beliefs, our own morals. We're upstanding for the sake of being upstanding and not to impress anyone, not to do it for anyone but ourselves. Finally, with sequential versus synchronous time, it's never too late to become Greek unless it's actually too late and you've graduated. So, we tell second semester seniors that it's not too late to be a Delt, but if you've graduated, technically it is too late to be a Delt. So, that. Finally, our officers use power on a day-to-day basis in order to motivate people and get our goals accomplished. We do not use the coercive and referent powers that French and Raven talk about in the 5 bases of power. We do, however, use the other 3. First, in terms of legitimate power, we use our influence in our offices to get things done. For example, as the president of the organization, I call the executive board meetings when something needs to be done. I network with some of the important faculty here on campus, and I effectively take care of the most important functions in the organization because people will listen to the president. On the other hand, our treasurer went to PNC Bank and was able to get a nonprofit bank account and nonprofit ID number and the tax exemptions for our income as an organization because it will be used for service events. So these are a few examples there. Second, we use reward power. When we were first filling the offices for our fraternity, we did not have a whole lot of volunteers because we didn't have very many men at the time. So basically, we appointed people to offices based on what they demonstrated, both as a person and in terms of being fitting for that office. Finally, we use expert power whenever we can, simply to help our brothers. A lot of us have knowledge and experience from going through college that we instill in the underclassmen. I like to help people with their resumes and their interviewing skills. We have other brothers who help people fix their cars, fix their computers, and effectively just pass on any knowledge that they have to the other brothers so that by the end of their fraternal experience here at Robert Morris, they will have stronger real-world skills. In conclusion, I think that functionalism describes the operations of our organization in a perfect manner. First of all, every single man believes firmly in our traditions, in our principles, in our mission, and that's why he's here. That's why he's a member of our organization. Additionally, every single man holds either an officer or a committee chairman spot, which is designed to make every single person a crucial part of the function of the organization so that no one feels left out. Additionally, the ways that we create meaning out of organizational life, our subcultures are what really defines our excellence here on campus. Collectively, we're trying to be the best. We're trying to set a good example. We're trying to defy the stereotypes. But our subcultures are what really pushes a different definition of excellence onto different people. Some people came into this only wanting to get a 4.0, and now, they're still focusing academically, but they're doing community service. They're trying to participate in intramural sports they've never participated in before. It's causing each individual to want to contribute to the whole in every single way possible. Finally, in terms of value dimensions, it seems like for all 6, we fell either on both sides of the spectrum or on the more individualistic side of the spectrum. And when we fell on both, it was because our individualism epitomizes our group as a whole. Ways that we grow as individuals represent the mission of Delta Tau Delta. Additionally, power is granted to everyone in their own way. Some people use it more, some people use it stronger, but everyone has authority within the group and everyone has a voice. And for those reasons, I think that functionalism is the perfect way to describe Delta Tau Delta. And if every man in the organization did not participate in the organization in an important facet, then I don't see why he would want to wear these letters.